So, hi everyone. I'm very happy to be with you for this new session of Sephardi Culinary History. It's the session number 9. And it is there are some cooking sessions organized by the American Sephardi Federation. And today we are going to prepare a dish that I love. It's a fried and honey pastry called Makrut. So I am very happy to present you this very special recipe, which is a recipe that belongs to both culinary heritage, the Jewish one and the Muslim one. And of course, you're gonna ask me why can't have a dish that could be shared by both culture. In fact, it is because this makrut, this fried and honey pastry, it's a very old pastry, and it was prepared in Andalusia, that means in the south of Spain, in the 13th century, when Jews and Muslims were living there. So I'm very glad to present you this very special dish, makrut, and we are going to start making the dish. And of course, as usual, I will give you explanation, and you can ask me questions if you want to have more details about the history of this dish. Okay, so let's start the recipe. If you want to have more details about this dish, this recipe, and you want to get some photos, you will find everything in my cookbook, Sephardi Cooking the History, Recipes of the Jews of Spain and the Diaspora from the 13th century onward, which is available on Amazon, Academic Studies Press, and other platforms. And the launch is for the end of May. So I'm very excited, and I hope you too. So as a scholar and an historian, I'm going to show you how to prepare this dish, and I'm gonna teach you what I know about this dish in the history. So let's start. I'm gonna show you my working desk here. I hope you see everything. So you will need some semolina, coarse semolina. I'm gonna open my packet here. It's 2.5 cups of 400 grams. And then you will add half teaspoon salt, and then melted butter, about 1/3 cup or 80 grams. So here is the semolina. I'm gonna show you how it is. Okay, so here you are. So we will need, of course, 2.5 cups. Okay. And then here. Perfect. Okay. Now you have your semolina here. Let's add the salt. And melted butter. If you want, of course, if you want to use margarine, you can, okay? So the butter is quite soft, but you can use melted, okay? So let's put everything here. It was melted, but I have been waiting, so it's just softer butter, but no matter. So now take your hands and we are going to mix everything. And it's gonna make like a dough, in fact, okay? That's everything right. So as I was telling you, this fried honey pastry called Makrut, it's very, very sweet. It's very, very sweet, in fact. It's an old recipe because the first time that the recipe of Makrut is mentioned dates back to the 13th century. And it is written, the recipe of Makrut is written in the second cookbook of the Iberian Peninsula, which was written in Arabic, as many other cookbooks and many other sources, of course, because Arabic was the main language, in fact. Hebrew was a language, but only for the book, in fact, for the liturgy and Judaism, okay? So everybody was writing in Arabic, and this recipe of Makrut is mentioned in the second cookbook of the Iberian Peninsula in the south of Spain. And we know that this cookbook has been written by a man, a Muslim man called Ibn Razin. And he wrote a lot of recipes, like more than 500 in his cookbook. And the recipe of Makrut is at the end of the cookbook, which name in Arabic is Fudalat al-Hiwan. Okay? So, but I'm gonna explain to you that the recipe is quite the same as the one that we are going to prepare today, but there are little differences. Okay, I'm gonna explain why to you why. Okay, so now the semolina and the salt and the butter have been mixed very well, and they are like that. Okay, and we are going to set aside the bowl and to prepare the dough for the filling, in fact. So I'm gonna take here the main ingredient for the filling, which is, of course, the date or the dates here. What is very important to mention is that, of course, you can find different kinds of dates. You can find the dates like the Mejdal one. I'm gonna wash my hand because it's not very beautiful. So here I am. So, okay. So what I was telling you is you have to use dates. The better dates you can find is this one. It is in fact the medjool one. It is the big one, okay? And you can find too another kind of dates, which is in fact the Deglet Noor one, which is in fact smaller and it's quite dry. And the worst thing you can find is dates, DAO dates, in fact, but please do not use this one. I just wanted to show you what it is, but the dough, the paste, the dough to make the dates is very, very easy to do. So you can really buy some dates and make your own dough to make the filling for the makrut. Okay, so this one is not the good one. Okay, and then you have this one and this one. If you use this one, it is easier, of course, and it will be tastier. It will give you more taste for the makrut because this one is very, very good. This one is not so bad. It's cheaper, but it's not as good as this one. So what we are going to do now is to prepare the dough for the makrut filling, okay? So you will need 150 grams of dates. Just to give you more details, this one is 20 grams, and this one is only 7 grams, okay? Just to show you the difference. So we are going to take the date and, of course, to open it to be sure that there is nothing inside. Okay. And we are going to do that with all the dates. As you can see, this one is very beautiful and it's totally moist inside, so it's very good to prepare the dough. So, as I told you, the first recipe of makrut is mentioned in cookbook written in Arabic in the south of Spain in the second third of the 13th century. We have to keep in mind that in the 13th century, Jews and Muslims and Christians too were living in Spain, of course. In fact, the first mention of the Jews in Spain dates back to the second century. Of course, there was too some little small communities of Christians, and the Muslims only arrived in Spain at the beginning of the 8th century. Okay, so they have been living there, and Muslims and Jews, no Christians, but Muslims and Jews have been sharing a common culinary heritage. And the difference between the Jewish dishes and the Muslim dishes was that for the celebration of the Jewish holidays, the Jews were preparing some different kinds of dishes, in fact. So there is nothing curious about the fact that Jews and Muslims have been sharing a common culinary heritage, and nowadays it is exactly the same. Makrut is commonly eaten by Muslims, mostly during the month of Ramadan. That is, in fact, actually nowadays, and that is the time for Ramadan now. And Jews have been preparing makrut mostly, and it is the same nowadays, for Purim, for Rosh Hashanah, because it is a fried and sweet pastry. And so for Purim, for Rosh Hashanah, and for Kippur too. And at the last day to celebrate the end of Pesach, okay? But it is very important to keep in mind that makrut is a very special sweet pastry from the north of Africa and the Andalusian people, So what is very interesting is as the Sephardic diaspora is very huge, you can find people from the north, Jewish people from the north of Africa or from the south of Spain. I mean, from Morocco, from Tunisia, from Algeria, that still prepare Makrut for the Jewish holidays. And in Israel nowadays, Makrut is really recognized as a Jewish pastry too. Okay. Then, okay. Now let's back to our filling. So you have here the
Hélène, you're muted.
okay. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened because I haven't touched the screen. So what I was saying is that, of course, if you use the big dates, the medjool one, okay, you will see that it's very moist like that, okay. If you use the small one, it's gonna be drier, so you will have to add maybe more orange blossom water. But with this one, in fact, you won't need, or you will need just to add a little. So now we have our chopped dates. Okay, well, yeah, it's quite hard. That's perfect. We are going to add ground cinnamon here. Ground cinnamon, just half a teaspoon. It's more or less this one. And you will add some orange blossom water, but not a lot. And you can mix everyone by cutting the dough, in fact. Perfect. What I can tell you is that if you use the Degletnur dates, you will probably need to put everything in a saucepan and to cook it for very few minutes, about 2, 3, 4, it depends, minutes, because the heat of the date will make your filling more moist and better, and it's gonna be easier, in fact, than to use it as a filling for the makrut. Okay, but if you use the big one, the medjool dates, you won't need to put everything in a saucepan. Okay, so now you can add just a little of olive oil. If you use the small dates, you will have to add more, in fact. But if you use the big one, you won't need to put a lot of olive oil inside, okay? Of course, if you use the dough date, this one, which is, it's not good, but if you have no choice, so you have to buy this one, you will have to first to cook it in the saucepan and to add more orange blossom water and to add more oil inside, okay, because it is very hard, okay? So now everything is okay. I'm gonna show you. Okay, it is like that. It's sticky, but just a little, and thanks to the oil, you will be able to make some forms and use it in the filling of the makrut. Then, and this is very, very special, I'm gonna show you, we are going to use chopped walnut inside. And this is very typical from the culinary practices of the Jews. Of course, not everybody is using chopped walnuts inside the filling of the makrut, but historically, we know that the Jews, and mainly the Jews from Morocco, were using chopped walnut inside the filling of the dates for the makrut. So I decided to put it too. And you will need just 1 tablespoon. In fact, it is more or less that. Okay, walnuts, and we are going to chop it right now. Be careful with your finger. It is very important that they are very, very chopped, okay? So another important thing, if you use this dasta date with the big dates, you can add the chopped walnuts right now. Nevertheless, if you use the smaller one or worth the dates paste, the very hard one, you will need to wait at least 30 minutes before adding the walnuts, because if you put the chopped walnuts into a hot filling, the walnuts won't be crunchy and it won't taste very good. Okay, so that's why it's even more important if you can use the medjool dates for the filling. So perfect. Our walnuts are chopped, okay, this way, and we can add them to the filling now. And to mix everything, you won't need your hands, because as the dough is sticky, it's not a good idea to mix with your hand, but with the knife, it works even more better, okay? Okay, that's good. This smells very well. It smells so Sephardic. That just cinnamon, orange blossom water, and dates. That smells so well. So now we have our filling ready to use. I just remember you, if you use the other dates, you will need to put everything in the saucepan and cook it for over 4 minutes, and then set it aside until it cools very well, because it's very important that it is very cool before adding the chopped walnut. Okay, so now everything is ready, the filling is ready, and we are going, so as you can see, this is the filling, okay? You can do what you want. And when you open it, it is like that inside. So now take just plastic and put it here, and you can put it in the fridge, okay? So I'm gonna put it in the fridge right now. Okay. And now we are ready to prepare the semolina, because the preparation, the making of the semolina is not ready. Okay. Perfect. So let's back to our semolina. Everything has been absorbed right now, and we will only need to add half a cup of orange blossom water. Okay, I have already prepared it here. That's okay. And mix with your finger. I hope you see it very well. In fact, the sweet makrut is not a very complex recipe. You just have to follow step by step. And once you make it, I don't know, if you make it in different times, okay, I'm sure you will prepare it very, very well, okay? So mix everything, okay? Now it starts to form like big chunks like that. It's normal. And then when you press it, okay, it keeps the form, okay? That means that you are in the right way. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to take all the dough and to be sure that it is ready to be filled by the filling of the dates. Okay, I'm gonna put just a little more of orange blossom water. Because my butter was soft and it was not melted, so it makes the dough just a little different. So that's why I decided to add. That's better right now. Great. Okay, so we are going to take the dough and to make like 3 balls. Okay. We are going to do like a pizza dough. You can stretch it a little. It is important that the dough is just a little hot thanks to your hands. Okay. So I'm gonna show you 2 ways for the shaping of the makrut, okay? Once you have your dough here, you can roll it, and we are going to start here the making of the sweet makrut. That's very smooth. That's perfect. This has a very beautiful color. I'm gonna show you here. Okay. Perfect. So we are going to form 3 like this one, and it is very important that it doesn't dry. So I'm gonna cover it with plastic paper. Okay. And I'm gonna do the same with the 2 other balls of the makrut. Okay. I wanted to teach you another thing that few people knows about the makrut. So as I told you, makrut is a very special sweet pastry eaten by Jews and Muslims of from the north of Africa. And what is very interesting is, of course, as an historian, I have to explain the history of the Jews in relation with the historical sources. So as I told you, the first recipe of Makrut is mentioned in the second cookbook of the Iberian Peninsula of Spain, which has been written by a Muslim, Ibn Razim al-Tujibi. Nevertheless, we know that, for example, in the first cookbook of the Iberian Peninsula, the Kitab al-Tabir, that means the cookbook in Arabic, there are 6 explicitly Jewish recipes, and it has been written by a Muslim, it has been written in Arabic too, but we do not know anything about the author of this cookbook. And it is very interesting that a cookbook could mention 6 explicitly Jewish recipes. And in fact, my investigation of this cookbook revealed that there are more than 6 explicitly Jewish recipes in this cookbook. What I wanted to show here is that, in fact, Makrut, the Makrut is not only mentioned in a cookbook from Spain. The second very important recipe in relation with the Jews is that in a book that deals with the most important families from the city of Fez in Morocco. Everybody knows that the city of Fez in Morocco, there were a lot of important Jewish communities. And in the city of Morocco, we know that because historical sources proved it, we know that Jews were preparing and selling in the market Makrut. So we know that they knew about how to do the Makrut, and we know that they were selling Makrut. Okay, so this proved that Makrut was very special sweet dish that the Moroccan Jews knew very, very well. This was in the 15th century in Morocco. So this is the second one. I'm gonna cover it right now. Okay, and I'm going to do, I'm gonna set this aside and start, in fact, the baking of our Makrut. But before, I'm gonna show you how to fill the Makrut with our filling. I cannot see the Q&A. In fact, I think I'm gonna. Joel, hi Joel. You mentioned a different name for this in the 13th century cookbook in Arabic. What is the origin meaning of the Makrut? In the 13th century cookbook, in the 17th century cookbook, the second one, because in the first cookbook of the Iberian Peninsula, there is no recipe of Makrut. The first recipe of Makrut is mentioned in the second cookbook, the Fudalat al-Hiwan, which has been written by a Muslim man. And this is, in fact, the first mention of this sweet pastry Makrut, in fact. I hope I have answered you, Joel. So let's start with the shape of shaping the Makrut. Please look very well. You will have to take a knife, okay? And open in fact, in the middle of the dough, but you will start from, not from the top, just a little under. You will start from here, and you are going to open it with the knife, but be careful. You do not have to cut to the other side. Just cut it in the middle, but don't go, in fact, over, okay? So I'm gonna show you here why it is very, very important. Here you are. So take it. As you will see, I haven't cut on the other side, and then I have done this way. Okay, so now you are going to open it like that, but be careful, okay? So open it, and we are going to put the filling inside right now, okay? Okay, so now everything is prepared, but look, okay, it's not open on the other side. And now we are going to take our filling, which is in the fridge. And now we are going to use this filling inside. So cut just a little, and you will need to roll it. Okay, it's easy thanks to the oil it has inside. Okay, it's like that. Okay, you see the walnuts and the dates inside. Everything is okay. Just put it inside. Okay, so it's like that. And now what you have to do is just to take little of, I'm gonna put just orange blossom water. Just put your finger inside, and now it's time to close. In fact, it's time to close. So press just a little the dates filling, and take your hand, your finger, and you have to press the edge over. It needs to be very well sealed, okay? Just put some water over your finger and press and close the dough, the edge of the dough, like that, okay? It's quite hard, but it's very important that the filling is not going outside, okay? So now we have almost finished, okay? You can add just a little water here to be sure that it's not dry, because if it's just a little dry, it's not good, because when you are going to roll it, it's gonna open it, okay? So now you have everything here. Be sure that it is not too dry. And then, okay, just turn it a little, and then roll it another, just a little too, okay? And press all around. And when you're sure that everything is inside, the filling is inside, you can roll it this way. Okay. You can press a little, but not too much. Okay. So be sure that your hands are just a little wet, and you can roll everything here. That's perfect. So the filling is inside and everything is perfect, okay? I'm gonna show you another way to prepare the makrut. Nevertheless, what you have to know that the shape of the makrut, if you have a look to the second cookbook of the Iberian Peninsula, which mentioned the recipe of the makrut, the shape is the one that we are going to do right now. That mean just little pieces under a square, like a diamond, in fact. This is the original shape of the makrut, okay? If you have a look to the original recipe of makrut that dates back to the 13th century, it is written that the filling is not dates, okay? But is almond paste made with almond and sugar. Nevertheless, at the end of this recipe, it is written that you can use dates inside. So I was thinking that as in the 13th century, Jews and Muslims were sharing a common culinary heritage, and the holidays were the main moments to celebrate their religion. I think that as we know that the author is Muslim, we can think, we can think of the possibility of when it is made with almond and sugar, it is more the Muslim way to make the makrut, and maybe when it's done with dates, it's most the Jewish way. But it's just an hypothesis. It's just what I am thinking, are a possibility, but it is very interesting to ask ourselves why two different ways to make the makrut, in fact. Okay, so let's stop talking and take the second roll. This way I'm gonna show you how to make a different shape, okay? Even if it is not the original one. Okay, so let's take your rolling pin, okay? Be sure that it is not dry because it's not a good idea, okay? Perfect. So you can press it a little. I'm gonna have a look to the Q&A just after that. Okay, this one is harder to make. Okay. Great. So okay, so once you have that, okay, you can take your filling and put it over the dough. You will need more dough, no more dates than if you shape it like in like the first way, but you will see it is as beautiful as the first one, more original maybe. So, okay. Perfect. So this is how it is right now, okay? Like a big sandwich. Now what you have to do is start rolling it, okay? Just be very, very careful. Okay. This is a very big one, in fact, but we are going to cut it, of course. So as for the first one, you have to be sure that the dough is not dry, because at the moment of frying, the dough is gonna open, so it's not good, okay? So once you're sure that everything is okay, just use your hands. Okay, and press a little here. So it is like that right now, okay? And now we can cut it here in the middle. If you want to do small Makruts, but with this shape, instead of rolling it this way, you have to roll it this way, okay, on the other side. And then you will make small Makruts if you cut them, okay? So now I'm gonna cut it here. I can do, in fact, I can do 3, but I'm going to do 2, just to show you better how it is inside, okay? So here is what is the Makrut. Perfect. So let's cut the Makrut here, and I'm gonna show you how to do the diamond shape. Okay. So you will have to cut the end and on the other way too. And then you take your rolling pin and just press a little, just not too much. Because if you press a lot, the filling is gonna be out, so it's not good. Okay, then take your knife here and make just a very light, okay, put the knife here, and then you can draw some forms. I'm gonna show you here, like this way, okay? So you can do the same with all the other Makrut. So here inside the filling, okay, and here on the top. You can do, of course, the same with the other. And then I'm gonna show you how to fry them and put them in the honey. Perfect. Great, I'm almost finished. So here we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have done 8, and we have 3 times this amount. So you can do 24, 25 makrut with this recipe. Okay. Now it's time to fry the makrut. Okay. So what we are going to do is to put all our ingredients and to prepare our tools to be sure that everything is ready, because once you start frying the makrut, everything is going very quick. Okay, so you have to be ready for all that. So you take your frying pan, take your tools here, and of course prepare your saucepan for the honey. So put your neutral oil and put it over medium heat. Then take your honey and put 1 cup inside your saucepan. Great. What is very, very, very important when you prepare honey dishes, it is that the honey is not boiling, because if the honey starts boiling, then your fried pastry, it's gonna be very, very hard. It's gonna be beautiful, okay, and very shiny, but it's gonna be very, very hard. So you have to be careful that the honey is always hot, but not boiling. So you can put it over medium heat, and you can add a little of orange blossom water inside. Then one of the most important ingredients, sesame seeds. I decided to use golden sesame seeds and white sesame seeds. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to do them. And I'm gonna have a look to the Q&A. Okay, can you use olive oil instead of butter? What I want to tell you, Annette, and thank you for asking, is that it's not a good idea to put olive oil, because the olive oil has stronger taste. So if you like it, of course you can use it, okay? Or if you prefer, you can use a very light olive oil. I don't know if it makes sense, but for example, in Spain, we have different kinds of olive oil, all extra virgin olive oil, but with different taste. One are very strong and other are very light. So if you want to use olive oil, it's better to use the very light one, okay? So now we can start. I prepared. You have to prepare this too. A dish here, just to put them once they are finished, okay? You have 2 options. You can use, and I recommend it to you, to use this, because the honey makes the sweet makrut a little sticky, so it's better to put them in this once they have been put in the honey. or just after. You can use that. It is very beautiful too when you have some guests, okay? Just to put your makrut inside, and it's very beautiful too. But whatever, you have to think about a presentation dish, okay? So now we can start. Let's have a look if our oil is ready. That's okay. It starts just a little boiling, so we are going to put our makrut inside. Perfect. We are going to cook the makrut for about 2 or 3 minutes on one side. Okay. So you remember the big one, so I cut it one more time, okay, in half. So I'm gonna put it here. Okay. So now it's frying. And it's very important not to move them, okay? Because if you move them, so the semolina is gonna make some chunks, okay? So you just have to let them for 2-3 minutes, okay? And be careful that your honey is not boiling. Now it's quite good, look. It's like water, okay? But it's not boiling. It's very, very, very important, okay? And then, of course, I forgot to mention to you, once our makrut are just fried, we are going to put them in the honey for 1 or 2 minutes. And then it's very important, we are going to put them here, okay? And just after 2 minutes, you can put your makrut here inside, okay? I'm gonna put it here. And at least we will sprinkle it with the sesame seed. It will give just a crunchy taste. Annette, okay. Esther, where do you get the pretty, oh, you know what, Esther, just go to my Instagram, Hélène Jawhara-Piñer, and you can send me an email, a message, sorry, and I will give you the link to get this paper cookie, okay? So now take your spoons and just turn them over. Be careful, okay? Be careful. It smells very, very, very well. It smells cinnamon and dates and oil. Okay. This one is very big. Okay. Here, everything is ready. So if you are interested in cooking the history of the Jews, I'm sure that you will love my cookbook, Sephardi Cooking the History, which is already available to pre-order on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Academic Studies Press. So you will find 57 recipes in relation with the history of the Jews. Nothing invented, just history. I have been investigating. I have been looking at it for more than 6 years into historical sources. It could have been medical treatises, cookbooks, different kinds of accounts, Inquisition trials, and I have compiled of all this information, and I have made those recipes. And you will find at the end of the cookbook recipes that I created in relation with the kashrut, of course, and in relation with the history of the Jews of Spain and all the diaspora, from Brazil to Egypt, Morocco, Portugal, and Mexico, and many countries. Okay, so let's take your makrut now and put them. They are golden, so it's right, as you can see. Okay, and now you have to put them in the honey very slowly. I'm going to turn off the oil, the frying pan. Okay. Okay. Perfect. I think it's a good idea to prepare one in 3 times, in fact. I mean that you cut, you shape, you fry, and you put them in the honey, and then you take them out, you put the sesame seed, and everything is done for the first one. And then you start in one more time with the second, and then with the third dough, okay? Perfect. And here, the last one, the bigger one, for people who are very hungry. Great. So do not remove, okay? Just be sure that they are well put here in the honey. Do not remove them, okay? Just be sure that you have honey over them here. Great. Just 1 minute, and then you can turn them, okay? I'm sure you will like that. I hope you will send me all the picture. So can we bake instead of fry? Okay, of course you can do it. It just it's not going to be as smooth as if you fry them, but yes, you can do it. Yes, it's a good idea too. Great. Now you have to turn them over. Okay, it's almost done. Oh, not over. Okay, not boiling. Okay, just hot honey, but not boiling honey. I'm not going to turn the big one because I do not have enough place in my saucepan, and it's gonna be a disaster if I try to turn it, to flip it, okay? Great. So now let's take your makrut. Okay, perfect. And you have to put it here. Okay. Great. Everything is almost finished. As they are fried and fresh, they can break. So just wait that everything is cool. But the most important now is once you have, once you took them out, you have to sprinkle them with your sesame seed, okay? So you can use golden one, but I love the white ones because it makes more contrast. And for the picture and for your eyes, it's very beautiful too. I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna put both, in fact. Okay, so here you have them. And for you, I'm gonna take one and I'm gonna put it here. So in the beautiful paper, look, Esther, it's perfect for this one, okay? So you can present this in a very beautiful dish, and honestly, it's very, very, very beautiful, and the guest will be very, very proud of you, of course, and they will love that. Or you can use a regular one and put it this way, and it's beautiful too. It's just different, but it's beautiful. And for you, because it's a sacrifice, I'm gonna taste it for you, you know, to show you how good it is. It's quite hot. It is very hot, but it is very good. Look at that. That's very, very good. So I'm gonna have a look to the Q&A. That's done. That's everything is good. Perfect. So I don't know if you have more questions. If you have, please, you can you can DM me in my Instagram account, and I promise I will answer you. If you have questions about my cookbook, of course, please ask me questions. If you go to the Academic Studies Press platform, you can ask for a signed copy. And if you have already buy the cookbook over on different other platforms and Academic Studies Press website, what I can do is to find a way to send you something like a bookplate to say you thank you, in fact, for buying my book. So any question, please send me a message and I will answer you. I hope you liked this culinary session. I hope that I have learned to you the history, the culinary history of the Jews. And I will be happy if you can contribute to the promotion of my cookbook. And that's all. I hope to see you again for the next session at the end of May. It will be a very, very, very busy May month for me. But I will be very happy to cook for you or to cook with you for the next culinary session of Sephardi Culinary History. So I don't know if you have other questions, Jason?
There's one additional question in the chat. Someone says, can we bake instead of fry?
Yes, of course. Yes, I answer yes. Yes, yes, of course. I said that you can bake instead of fry. It's healthier, but it's different. It won't be as smooth as if you fry them, but it's good too.
And I think that was the last question. So thank you so much, Chef Hélène. Another wonderful show, and we're very much looking forward to next month. I also would suggest that everyone stay tuned because we may have another program with a partner with Chef Hélène in conversation coming up in the month of May, but we're not sure on the date yet. So please stay tuned.
Yes, it's a very great session. So bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Janet.